Hello there and welcome to Black Jackal Gaming.
We're going to have a look at ranking the Space Marine troop choices, looking at what brings more value to the tabletop. First up we have the Firstborn Tactical Marine, the relatively cheap unit coming in at 18 points per model, although not the cheapest Marine body that is available. When running as a squad of 5, you can swap a bolter for a special weapon or a heavy weapon. If you run a squad of 10, which you won't, you can take one of each. The sergeant can be upgraded to swap his bolter for a combi weapon, his pistol for a plasma pistol. You can also opt to drop his ranged weapon entirely to go with a close combat weapon like a thunder hammer paired with a plasma pistol. The upgrades are nice to have, but losing an attack per model, not having their Primaris keywords, so being unable to use strats such as transhuman, which is a very powerful strat, is painful. The bolter is pretty poor in comparison at strength 4, rapid fire 1, AP 0 and damage 1. It doesn't really hold up against the other units, especially with no abilities attached to the unit at all. So this unit just has no benefit to take over the other units and doesn't look as nice as a model when stood next to its Primaris brethren. They belong in the trash tier, but you could argue that for some chapters you can squeeze them into a bad choice tier. Next up we have heavy intercessors. We have a chunky version of the intercessor sporting an extra wound and now toughness 5. They can have 3 variants of heavy bolt rifles, an assault, rapid fire and heavier version. They all sport strength 5. You are probably better off with the assault variant as you have more of a consistent rate of firing in comparison to the others, plus it makes you more mobile and flexible. In some chapters such as Iron Hands you can make use of the heavier version so they gain the innate reroll to ones to hit. You can upgrade one of them to carry a heavy bolter, which comes in 3 different variants, just to keep things extra confusing. The sergeant cannot be upgraded in any form. They also gain access to the strat Unyielding in the face of the foe, which allows them to add 1 to the saving throw when making saves for attacks that are damage 1. So they're pretty useful to some chapters and more of just an expensive unit and others, costing 5 points more than an intercessor, coming in at 23 points a model. It's a great looking model with slightly worse stats and a little bit on the expensive side. This will slide into the tier for you if you like the unit. Next up we have the Infiltrator. If this guy isn't in your thoughts then you are doing something wrong. People focus so much on pure damage output and efficiency, but sometimes there are tangible benefits to units that are just hard to math hammer. They come with a marksman bolt carbine, which is the rapid fire 1, no AP. Nothing to write home about, but the gun does auto wound on a hit roll of a 6. They have the standard Space Marine profile and are 20 points apiece, a bit pricier than most of the other options. What they do give you is access to very useful tools. First off, they come with a Helix Gauntlet, which lets you turn the damage cast characteristic to the first saving throw to 0. That's once per turn, so potentially 10 times a game. They have the Concealed Positions ability, so they can set up anywhere on the board apart from within 9 inches of the opposition's deployment zone. With troops having sticky objective control, you can forward deploy them onto the objective and gain your control. They have the Smokescreen keyword that gives them -1 to be hit when using the Smoke Launcher strat. This means that if you put them in cover, transhuman them, apply Smokescreen and remove the first failed damage, they're incredibly hard to shift early game, letting you raise a banner and hold the objective to your heart's content. They are Phobos, so have access to the guerrilla warfare strat, letting you remove them from the battlefield in your movement phase and replacing them in reserves. This gives you massive flexibility in the unit, making it very tough to move, super mobile and controls a lot of the board. This is the cream of the crop, great utility and should make it into all army lists that are running troop choices. It is a compulsory choice. Up next we have the Assault Intercessors. These are essentially tactical marines but come with an extra 2 base attacks and have the Primaris and Assault Intercessor keyword. They come equipped with a heavy bolt pistol which has a range of 18, strength 4 and -1 AP. So a decent range and punch for a bolt pistol. They are also equipped with a chainsword, giving them an extra attack and adding -1 AP to their melee attacks. This gives the Assault Intercessor a massive 5 attacks on the charge, a -1 AP and 1 damage apiece. They really shine when charging into light infantry like guardsmen, as they would just tear them to shreds. These guys are 17 points apiece, so really cheap for what you get. If you put these guys in a White Scars army in the assault phase, they are charging with 5 attacks, a -2 AP and 2 damage apiece. Couple this with the extra attack from the sergeant and having a free upgrade to a plasma pistol and a power sword or thunder hammer, these guys hit hard in combat, especially going into power armor, as every failed 5+ save is a dead marine. They have a strat that's only available to them that lets them attack again during the fight phase. This is a 2 CP strat, so it is not really at its most effective when you're not having a 10-man unit. Often it isn't the best use of CP as it's a bit expensive, but if you do get into a fight, it's either something that has been destroyed or there's too few models left anyway. But again, it is useful and has its purpose every now and then. It's a great unit in White Scars and Blood Angels, pretty meh to bad in the others, solidly in the you like the unit bracket. Next we have the Water Carrier, Mr. Reliable, the Intercessor. This dude carries the same stats as the Assault variant, but loses an attack. The loadout is different as there are 3 variants of bolters you can take. The overall winner being the Assault variant, like the Heavy Intercessor, as it gives you a more consistent rate of fire and additional mobility. You can upgrade one of the bolters to have an underslung grenade launcher, given the option of firing a frag grenade that is D6 shots, but you will never use this. The crack grenade is an interesting option as it allows you to have a strength 6 attack, -1 AP shot that does D6 damage. A couple of these sprinkled around add a bit of additional anti-armor to your army with no cost or limitations attached. As with a couple of the others, stick a plasma pistol on the sergeant and then you can swap his bolt rifle for a close combat weapon. One of the strats that comes with this intercessor is the rapid fire strat. This allows the unit to fire again. It costs 2 CP, which is a bit pricey, but if you really need to clink off a couple of vital wounds from an opponent, then firing a 10-man shot again can be useful. In the tactical doctrine, this basically allows one 10-man unit to shoot 60 strength 4 bolter shots at -1 AP during the turn. If you really need to wipe out another squad of guardsmen or take 1 or 2 wounds from a badly wounded but vital unit, this can come in clutch. Mr. Average slides into the solid choice, point level is about right for what they offer, can do well in most lists. Last, and by no means least, we have the other Phobos unit, the Incursor. This unit is equipped with the Oculus Bolt Rifle, which is a 24-inch range, rapid fire 1, strength 4, 0 AP. It has the ability that prevents the target from receiving the benefits of cover. They're also equipped with paired combat blades, which gives them a -1 AP to the melee attacks. They come with a multi-spectrum array ability, which allows them to ignore any or all of the hit roll or ballistic skill modifiers to their ranged attack. They have the concealed positions ability, so can set up from deployment anywhere on the battlefield as long as they are more than 9 inches away from the enemy deployment zone. Finally, they can be equipped with a Haywire Mine. This can be used once per battle. When an enemy unit finishes with an engagement range at the end of a charge, you can activate this ability. On a roll of a 2+ on 1d6, the attacking unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. Unless they have the vehicle keyword, then they suffer 3 mortal wounds. They have the Phobos and Smoke keyword, so can use the 2 strats mentioned with the Infiltrators. As you can see from the Phobos units, they don't have the best of war gear, but they come with interesting abilities and access to restricted stats, giving them great utility on the battlefield. This guy slides into solid choice just ahead of the Intercessor. It has some interesting abilities, but not quite as flexible as the Infiltrator. Looking at the tier list, there's 3 clear winners that pretty much fit in all armies, with one of these being exceptional for Space Marine troop choices. There's 2 decent options depending largely on the chapter that you're running, whether you just like the model or not. Finally, there is an old unit that looks dated, and the data sheet is pretty dated as well. It hasn't been given any love in 9th, and with the points dropped for the other units, it's now not even that cheap. The poor tactical marines have had their day in the sun, and now the sun is setting on their existence.
Thank you for watching the video. If you have any comments, then pop them below in the comment section. If you enjoyed the video, then please hit the like button as it greatly helps the channel. Hit the subscribe button to see any future Warhammer content. Take it easy and see you next time for more grim darkness from the 41st millennium.